Vinyl community, I'm back to do a recent vinyl finds video, and this is going to be a great day because this is the first hour of my summer vacation. I'm just starting it off. I had my first cup of coffee, went up and decided to make a video. I have 4 weeks off. It's going to be great. Lots of family love and listening to records and my new equipment, stuff like that. Yeah, but I have 18 records to show you, a mixed bag as usual, so let's get into it right now. The first one is a fairly new release. This is Ennio Morricone, his psychedelic side, so to speak, a compilation of late 60s, early 70s recordings. This is great. Nothing like you heard him before, I guess. If you're like me and just your experience with him is the soundtracks. Highly recommended. Gatefold sleeve, 2 LP set. Sounds okay, or good. So check it out if you're a die-hard fan like me. Okay, so this is long overdue, but Einar Sigurdsson hooked me up on Instagram, asked me for my address. He wanted to send me a record because he liked my videos. Thank you so much again, man. I'm sorry I haven't shown this before. I've played it now a couple of months, and it's great. It's such a great record. This is the Icelandic record from Natura, I don't know how to pronounce that really. Magic Key from 1972. And this is a poppier side of the sort of progressive or heavy blues rock kind of 70s, early 70s era. Members of Natura was also members of Trúbrot, Svanfriður and Ice Cross, those sort of heavy, iconic Icelandic progressive bands that we all love and would like to have all originals of. So yeah, thank you so much again. This is Light in the Attic, sort of with obi strip, heavy gatefold sleeve, beautifully compiled. So recommended for all you sort of European heavy psych fans. Okay, so this is a long time want. When I started adding stuff to my want list on Discogs way back when, I mean, probably talking like 10 plus years, I don't know. I started off really early. This was on my want list, and I've never seen it at a good price. I've never seen it in a store here in Sweden. So when there were sort of make me an offer deal on Discogs, I threw a number in and I got it. This is the soundtrack to Dawn of the Dead by Goblin, of George A. Romero's fantastic, iconic horror or sort of political drama film, Dawn of the Dead, or zombie. One of the more, or maybe most iconic soundtracks from the Italian sort of 70s era. Goblin, who did Suspiria, which is in my opinion a better record, but it's apples and pears. You have Dawn of the Dead and Profondo Rosso, really strong progressive records. Highly recommended. I wanted this original press on Cinevox green label, and with this sort of iconic original artwork, not the repress artwork that they made, so that's why it's been taking me so long to get it also. Okay, a sort of a local shop had a huge sale. All the duplicates of these reissues were like half off, so I bought a bunch of records. This is one of them, one that I've read about in different sort of underground obscure psychedelic records. The Third Estate, Years Before the Wine. This is the 30th anniversary limited edition on, I think, Void Records. And it sounds great. I mean, probably tapped from the digital source or something like that, because this is, but for what it is, it sounds great. I think this artwork was released later on. The original press, which is rare as hen's teeth, came with a plain white sleeve, I think. I think they put out like -2 copies worldwide, and you have to give a liver to to get it. But this is a folk psych record, maybe. Very easy to get into. highly recommended. Okay, I don't have much of this artist or these artists, but what I have I really like. But this is by far the best release that I've listened to by the bunch. This is Julie Driscoll and Brian Auger's and Trinity with Street Noise, 1969. Looks like that, and the inside of the gatefold is fantastic. On Polydor, I think this is a sort of German press maybe. 2 LP set. Great compositions, both original and some covers. I mean the bass, the drums, especially maybe the electric piano, fantastic. And Julie is singing her heart out. This deserves more cred than I've heard, at least. So highly recommended. Check it out. Dare I say psychedelic jazz? It's not like a solid, just ordinary jazz record, not fusion or whatever. It's much more progressive, in my opinion. But it doesn't deserve to be filed in the progressive sort of, or maybe the progressive part of your collection. I don't know. Give me a comment if you have any suggestions. Oh man, I was so glad to see this for a decent price. This is the Japanese 86 release of Sonny's Time Now by Sonny Murray. First release 1965, and plain like back sleeve. Looks very DIY, and the sound for what it is, it sounds great. And listen to the lineup. I mean, Sonny Murray, obviously. Albert Ayler on tenor saxophone, Don Cherry on trumpet, and Henry Grimes on bass. 1965, Don Cherry and Albert Ayler on the same record with Sonny Murray just thumping away. It's such a good free jazz record. Everyone should listen to this. It's not the best free jazz record. That's just, it's not the best free jazz record I've ever heard. But I mean, 1965, maybe the guys like Don Cherry and Henry Grimes and Albert Ayler were on their peak free jazz and avant-garde-ish with their artistry. I mean, Don Cherry went on in the 70s to other sort of spaces in the music, but this is, in my opinion, maybe the peak. And you can really hear the voices from the trumpet and the tenor saxophone is spot on. I mean, you can listen to this in your sleep and you know that this is Don Cherry and Albert Ayler. I think that Albert Ayler even puts in some of the Ghost sort of like melodies and phrases in there, almost like a calling card. Check it out if you're a free jazz fan. Okay, so in the half off kind of deal, I bought this, and because I've read about it. This is Lady Killer. I didn't listen to it before I bought it because it was so cheap by Mouse. And private pressed, rarest hen's teeth from the original. But it's not my bag. So if you're looking for this, please hook me up. We can trade or do a deal, whatever. But I'm not going to keep this. It's too much like standard rock and roll, cocks out, balls to the wall kind of sound, and that's not what I'm into at all. Killer artwork. I mean, it's in theory, this is a cool record. I'm glad I took a chance on it, but it's not. I mean, the result is not my bag. So, okay, so the other side of the sort of, because this was also half off. I knew about this. This is Octopus Restless Night from 1971, and this is on the other side of the coin. This is a masterpiece. Fantastic, almost like psychedelic Beatlesque at times. Reminds me a little bit of like Badfinger and that sort of Apple produced records. Look at that artwork. I mean, shit. And the original press, I would love that. I've had it on my want list for a while since I listened to The River on a podcast by a Swedish guy called Jonas. He has a podcast called Feed Your Head. Yeah, so I'll probably won't find the original any day soon. So this is limited to 500 copies. Radiation Records is the reissue. tapped from a digital source probably, but it sounds good. It's decent. I mean, I don't know. I have nothing to compare it to, but I'm really glad that I got it. When I was reading about krautrock, I stumbled upon this project that I had no idea about by Klaus Schulze. Klaus Schulze was a member of Ashra Temple and Tangerine Dream. This is a solo record by him. And it's just so quirky that I order it right away because it's a cheap one, but it's sort of a cheap heat. This is Body Love by Klaus Schulze. It's a soundtrack to the porn movie by Lasse Brun. And what you expect is this sort of with the music, but this is a sort of a run-of-the-mill kind of Tangerine Dream record, not the best, not the worst, and it's a typical like sort of solo Klaus Schulze record. And it's a nice talk piece. I mean, if you pull this out, if you have a dinner and you want to show a record that's unusual and has a story behind it, this is a great one to pull. I mean, every time you have dinner, you have to show your record collection, and people are going home. Last time they have dinner at your house. Okay, so yeah, Bud Love by Klaus Schulze, 1977. I mean, you can get that in very good condition for like €5. And I recommend, if you're a krautrock fan, it's a no-brainer because of the sort of quirkiness and the music is great. I mean, if you're a krautrock fan and Tangerine Dream fan, it's a no-brainer. I've been picking up Alan Baum records because I had no idea about this guy. I read about him in Galactic, and Island Record, and it's solid. I mean, the stuff that I've listened to with him, this is from 1971. It's just solid rock music from the time era. It's just as good as anything released in that time period. Led Zeppelin and Stones and stuff like that. I mean, I get why they weren't bigger than they got, but yeah, it's good. It's really solid, and I'm into this sort of a little bit obscure music. I mean, Stones and all those stuff. I've listened to that 100 times, and I mean, I have those records. I never listen to them anymore, but this is something that I pull out. So yeah. Okay, as you know, if you've seen my videos, I've been to a huge Ian Carr kick as of late. No, but the last year or so, I got Belladonna and a bunch of Nucleus records. And before that, I bought the 3 first Don Rendell and Ian Carr records from Jazzman because I didn't get the box set when it was put out. But they put out the individual sets, so I bought the first 3 because the last 2 of 5 wasn't as good as the first 3, so I didn't buy them. I mean, it's a lot of money, so but I listened to them afterwards. I had second thoughts and I ordered them. I got them for a great price. I can't remember if it was by Discogs. Fuck it. This is 1969 live record, and as usual, sounds fantastic, and the music is great. I mean, the other ones are like 9s and 10s, the first 3 records. So let's say that this is a 7 or boundary of 8. It's still great. It's still fantastic. It still blows like 2/3 of the rest of my jazz collection away. So why hesitate? Changes. Fantastic. Get these. If you miss out on them, if they don't repress them, you will be sorry if you're a jazz fan. That's just fact. So, Blue Note Records. Watch my last video if you're not, if you don't know the sort of the project or the celebration or whatever. But it's the 80th anniversary releases by Blue Note. They release like 2 classics and 80s stuff a month and 2 tone poets, like every month. And they've been doing this since the late 2019. What's unusual about these are that they are normally priced. You get them for like €23, and they are remastered by Kevin Gray and released and impressed at Palace. No, Optimal. Fuck it. A great pressing plant, at least. They had some trouble read about it, but I mean, every record I've had is sounding fantastic. So I've been buying like 12 maybe of these classics and 80s series and One Tone Poet. And when I saw that Ethiopian Nights by Donald Byrd from 1971, I think, was released, I was not going to buy it because I never heard about the record. It's kind of, you can get a reissue of this, and yeah, you know, I wanted to stay with the classics, the ones that I knew about, because I want them, and it's so much money to buy like 16 records. But I sampled this online, and man, such funky record, bass fantastic, drumming awesome, like, and when I hit this on my system with the new speakers and everything, the detail and the separation and the bass, everything is just a 10. So this is one you can use to check out your equipment, in my opinion. Great music, great pressing, everything just fits together. And I also got the real McCoy. This is the first, 1967 I think. This is the first McCoy Tyner record that he did solo of on Blue Note Records. Yeah, I'd done some for Impulse and stuff like that. But McCoy Tyner, Joe Henderson, Ron Carter and Elvin Jones. Not a bad lineup. Let's just leave it at that. Sound quality fantastic, music classic. I mean, this is part of the classic series, and I see why. Great, very rewarding music if you sit down and really listen to it. And at the same time, from the same seller, I bought the Sidewinder. Lee Morgan, Joe Henderson, Barry Harris, Bob Crenshaw and Billy Higgins. This was probably the one that I was looking most forward to, because one that was released pretty early on in the series and sold out right away. Fantastic pressing on paper, I've read. And let's just say this series, like I said, it sounds, all the records, all the pressings, they sound like 9s or 10s in quality, in my opinion, with the stuff that I have to relate to. It's 9s and 10s. Fantastic pressings and masterings, and I mean, price, everything is just correct. So when I'm criticizing now this record, you have to understand that this sounds better than 90% of the rest of my records, or record collection, 2,000 records. This sounds better than 90% of it. So bear that in mind. I have nothing to compare it to. So maybe other reissues sounds even worse. But what I have a problem with this one, because this is the least good sounding record of the classics and 80 series that I've heard, is the volume. I have to crank this up way louder than any other record I have, or Blue Note record I have, or record I have. And I think that the horns is a little bit muffled and drawn back. I don't know if it has to do with the tapes or whatever, but just be warned. It still sounds like a fucking 6 or 7. It's and I mean, we're not talking about the music. The music is a 10. The music is 10, but pressing quality and stuff like that. Okay, rant out. Another jazz, UK jazz with sort of Indian raga. So you have a fusion of European and Eastern sounds. Cosmic Eye by Dream Sequence reissue. This costs so much if you want the original, but Sound Edition did a great job. First ever legitimate reissue remastered from the original tapes. Sounds great. Sounds great. Check it out and get it if you are into this very guitar driven sort of 60s jazz. 70s, 1972. If anyone said a year ago that not 2 years ago, that you would buy a Yo-Yo Ma record, I would call them like crazy and stupid. But here we are. I ordered this right away when I listened to this online. I sampled it on Tidal, and it sounded so good streaming wise. So I was so curious to see how this sounded on vinyl. It sounds great. It's not a masterpiece in sound quality, but it sounds great. You could stick with the sort of master, Tidal's master sound quality just as much. But if you want the physical kind of product. This is a really cool one because it's a part of the At the Movies series that Music on Vinyl are doing. I have one before this with also in high quality. You have a custom sort of sleeve with a tip on and embossed engraving At the Movies. This is number 1249 out of, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000 copies, something like that. Recorded in 2004, conducted by Ennio Morricone, and it's Yo-Yo Ma plays Ennio Morricone. So you have music from The Mission, Cinema Paradiso, Malena, Once Upon a Time in America, and The West, and The Good, Bad, The Ugly, Ecstasy of Gold. Yo-Yo Ma does that solo on his cello. It's in fucking insane. Listen to this. Listen to it. 2 more to go. And talking about Blue Note Records, this was, I had no idea about this, and I think that like 99 out of 100 jazz lovers and collectors had no idea about this. Maybe. But I saw that this was released, so I pre-ordered it online from a Swedish shop because they had it at 18 euros for a Tone Poet release. So I was going like, this has to be a mistake. I ordered it, pre-ordered it, and it was sent to me when it was released. 18 euros, and it's a 35 euro record. So obviously something was wrong there. Katanga by Curtis May, Amy and Dupree Bolton. I have no idea about those guys. Like, literally no idea. This, for being a Tone Poet release, this is no gatefold, because it wasn't... Yeah, I don't know. No. Yeah, I read that it's not a gatefold because they couldn't find any photos from the session to add inside the gatefold. If they would probably do that. But they didn't find any extra stuff, you know, and I respect that. Pacific Jazz, originally 1963. And when I listen to this, at times it feels like I'm listening to a Coltrane record. Like a 60s Coltrane record. I don't know if it's just me. Comment if you agree. Comment if you disagree. Highly recommended. For buying this on a whim, it's probably one of the best sounding records I have in my collection. Once again, Kevin Gray, he's a god. He's a god when it comes to this. And I've listened to a lot of interviews with the guy nowadays, or in recent times. And he said that he invested some equipment stuff for a lot of money back a couple of years ago, maybe a little bit later. But I think that along with his extreme experience and the source material that we're talking about, I mean Blue Note Records and those sort of Universal, the vault that Universal has, and sort of the rights to look after, it's the perfect blend or combination of like just things falling at the right spot or whatever it's called. And for that price, I mean the Tone Poet's a little bit pricier. It's a good time to be a jazz vinyl collector. Let's just put it at that. Because this next record, this is the same sound quality. You get a little bit more. So this could be a Tone Poet release. This is Acoustic Sounds. And I had to grab this, even if it's a pricier one. Nina Simone's Pastel Blues. Because it's so well recorded. Listen to that. Fuck, that's good. Yeah, Acoustic Sound series. The sound quality and the recording quality is just fantastic. And I've listened to this so many times online. So I wanted this on vinyl sounding the best possible it could, and I think that this is the ultimate release, up to date at least. Her version of Strange Fruit is great. It's not the best one. Billie Holiday's is a little bit better, but there's so much soul in this, so much pain and anger in her performance. But the real reason I got this is because Cinnamon. I hail Cinnamon to be the 10-minute opus, to be top 25 songs ever recorded. It's everything about it is just perfect. This edition is no, I mean, sound-wise, she's right there, right in your face. It sounds like she's standing in your living room singing this song for you, and this was recorded in 1965. It's insane. It's insane. Highly recommended. So that's it. Long ass video. Thanks for watching. If you did, please leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can, and I see you in my next video, whenever that is. Have a good one. Bye.